Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your boy Retro Bliss, and you are on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. You're on the Retro Bliss Gaming channel, but you're also, there may be some of you that are watching from Mike's Gaming Gala. We are simulcasting over there. If you're watching from over there, welcome also. We're going to have a good show tonight. We have Milli from 8-Bit Milli and ColecoVision.com. I've known Milli probably for about a year and a half now. I met him, I believe, for the first time at the Torgs Gaming Convention. No, it was Korg's. No, yeah, the Torgs Gaming Convention about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I can't remember. Long story short, I've known him for about a year and a half. So anyway, we're going to talk about his website. We're going to be talking about his games because he programs. And so without further delay, let's get our panelists on the stage. So here's Mike, and here's Brian, and the man himself, Milli. What's going on, Milli? How you doing tonight?
How you guys doing?
All right. So what I want to do is, this is something that we don't normally do like right away. But I'm gonna bring to the stage your website and kind of read some paragraphs from your website because they're very well written and they kind of say it all, and better than I can say it. So we're just going to do that. So let's just get to it. This is the ColecoVision.com website, and if you scroll down to the bottom, there are there's a history section and a game section, and I'll screw it up when I try to read it, so my eyes aren't the greatest. But and this is the history. In 1997, we embarked on a journey as SpinWeb Services, crafting digital experiences that captivated audiences worldwide. Fast forward to 2021, we made a bold leap into the world of video game design under the name 8-Bit Milli Games, igniting a passion for nostalgia-funded adventures. Now in 2024, we're thrilled to unveil our latest evolution, Console Moo. With a fresh new identity and a dedication to spreading joy through retro gaming, Console Moo opens the doors to a wider audience, inviting gamers of all ages to experience the magic of classic gaming like never before. Join us as we continue to innovate, inspire, and delight, because at Console Moo, the audience never ends, and the fun is always just a moo away. How clever. So that is the history. Let's talk about the games. I just thought I wanted to read that. This is about the games. It says, our gaming library is a sprawling landscape encompassing a diverse array of genres and styles that cater to every type of player, from heart-pounding shooters to mind-bending puzzles. Our games are a testament to our dedication to pushing the boundaries of what gaming can be. Explore the timeless charm of 8-bit adventures, where every jump and power-up evokes a sense of triumph. Dive into the nostalgia-soaked realms of arcade classics, where every quarter spent was an investment in pixelated glory. Wow. Man, you make it sound like it was all that.
I mean, don't oversell it or anything. Jeez.
Whether you're seeking the adrenaline rush of modern gaming or the comforting embrace of retro nostalgia, our commitment to delivering unforgettable experiences ensures that there's something for everyone in our ever-expanding universe of games. Well, there it is. All right, Milli, what's up? Well, tell me about it.
Been really busy with working on games here. I love the little history there. I actually, when I first, like I was telling you, I wrote my history, and like I said, when I was telling you earlier, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, I used to write poetry and I used to write short stories. I got published in a couple magazines, and over the years, I spent so much time coding that now when I write, what I write doesn't read very well. So what I did is I wrote down my history as best as I could. Then I gave it to ChatGPT and I said, make this sound better.
It was funny. So I was gonna ask you that after Phil read.
Yeah, it cleaned it up. I mean, there was nothing in there that I wouldn't have never put in myself. I just wouldn't come up with the idea of putting in the saying exciting.
You would have written something along the lines of refer to line A34.
Yeah, I started in 1997. In 2021, I started this, and now I'm doing this. And it would have been 3 lines. I would have been done. I would have been happy with that. And that's what my other site used to have, 8bitmilligames.com had. But when this year we decided, because 8-Bit Milli Games originally was me selling games that we wrote in-house. And then I started selling other people's games, and I realized that I'm also reselling games. I shouldn't have it under my name. I should have a store that sells things that also sells my games. So I was telling my wife back in March, we were talking about it. I said, I need a name that just fits it, and it doesn't sound like every other retro game thing. And she says, well, our daughter loves cow. Why don't you call it Console Moo? I said, okay, is it available? Because it kind of like tripped off the tongue when I said it, and I liked it. It doesn't. It says
it is
console,
memorable,
but it doesn't
for sure.
tell you anything. You have no idea what it's really about.
You know, the first thing that came to mind when I saw, you guys are going to, some of you may, of course, I don't think Mike's going to even know what I'm talking about, but I was a frozen food manager before I started the post office back in 1988. But Borden's Ice Cream, man, I used to stock that stuff all the time, and there was a cow on the front of the carton all the time, man. So I was like, oh, man, that looks like the, but it's not the same. It's not the same logo.
It's not the same cow. That's why I had to give it a joystick so that it didn't look like it was a milk cart.
Like a milk product.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of names,
my daughter.
Speaking of names, we already kind of got a question in the chat that was referring to your 8-Bit Milli nickname. So the question is, where did 8-Bit Milli come from, and is there an 8-Bit Vanilli?
All right, here's the story behind 8-Bit Milli.
Did I miss that?
Milli. So this is the story behind Milli. Back in 2005, I used to like doing online karaoke, where we'd go into a Yahoo chat room and where we would take turns singing karaoke songs. And I had my own name on there and I liked it, and it got hacked. I lost it. So I needed a name that would stand out. And I'm like, what can I use? What can I use? What can I use? And I'm watching not VH1, but whatever was taking place at that time. And Milli Vanilli was singing. I've always liked them. I don't care if they didn't sing their songs. I liked them as a group.
So I wasn't wrong. It isn't Milli Vanilli.
Yeah. So I was watching them, and I said, you know what I'm going to be? I need a name that sticks out. It's got to be something with Milli Vanilli. And I'm like, well, no. I said, okay. I'm going to call myself Hot and Sticky Milli Vanilli. Why? I don't know. I did. And
it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing you got rid of that first half. You know,
because my name is William or Bill, or my parents call me Billy. So Milli kind of fit, and people started calling me Milli, and I'm okay with that nickname as Milli. So it just stuck. And then when I decided that I was going to start doing the gaming and stuff, I want to use Milli because I like that. So why not 8-Bit Milli? When I started my YouTube channel, it like puts you at the top because you're a number, and that didn't help much.
That's
but
true.
It did put me up there. So that's what I stuck with.
Console is still pretty high.
Mm-hmm. So that's where 8-Bit Milli came from, and I'm still with it today. And I still go by Milli. Most people call me Milli. My wife doesn't, but most people do.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, no, that makes sense, because that was something I did always wonder. And again, I know we've talked plenty, but I never did really ask you in person, like, what made you do the change. So I'm glad that you kind of clarified that, because that does make sense now that you're.
If you ever look at the games, the logo right there.
Yeah,
that's
that's from
the Milli Vanilli albums. Their Running Man logo.
Yep.
I used to talk to
Fab. That's right. Yep, I got it right there.
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, I used to talk to Fab. Rob is passed away. He died from drug overdose. But I used to talk to Fab a lot on Twitter and in chatting and stuff. He lives over in Amsterdam now. But it was nice being able to talk to these people that, they didn't sing the songs, but it was fun.
It was fun to watch them dance and do the choreography and watch them on the. Back then when MTV was actually MTV, you saw the.
Oh yeah, I was up in Alaska in 1989 watching MTV with Downtown Julie Brown, and they had Milli live from someplace in Connecticut. And I watched live the record skip.
Did you? Oh, man.
Girl, you know it.
Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it.
It didn't bother me that they were doing it. I didn't get it, and then a couple of weeks later, I started realizing, wait, now they don't. They think they lip synced him. But yeah, I watched that thing live.
But no, I mean,
you need to get Fab to record a guys. You know it's true. Con Soul Moo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. Phil is loud. We're not sure what's up there tonight. But no, that's where I was asking, or I'm glad you clarified, because I was starting to say there, because I noticed you were still putting 8-bit Milli on your games. I'm like,
Phil,
change the console move and just
we can hear you typing so loud. Your mic must be really loud.
I don't know how to adjust it in the. Yeah, I can edit.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we're doing all our game publishing under 8-bit Milli.
Yep.
And we do all of our sales of everybody else and our games via console move.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it easier to separate it out.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
That way people don't say, well, you didn't write this game. Why does it say 8-bit Milli on it?
Yeah.
Because we
No, that makes sense now that you're selling like Electronite stuff and different things like that. So
yeah.
Yep.
It makes more sense that way, yeah. And that way it's generic. I mean, I can just add anything. And console move is just console move. It's not anything specific. It's not.
And it covers a variety of systems. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like right now we have 4 different systems on there. 5 if you want to stretch it for the Odyssey. You know, we only had the 1 game for the Odyssey. But yeah, we've done pretty good over the last 2.5 years. First game was published in September of 2021. So almost 3 years. We published 11 games for the ColecoVision and 3 for the Aquarius. That's in-house. That's what not published. We've written those games.
So
Aquarius, that's
yeah, I know. Aquarius is one of those. Yeah, that's one of those.
Very niche.
I've never gotten one of those yet. I've thought about it, but I've just never been able to make myself pull the trigger and get one. So,
but the nice thing about the Aquarius, I mean, it's a nice little computer to program on, and the new Aquarius Plus is even better because Sean, I think it's Sean Harrington or Sheen, I don't know how you pronounce it. He's made a new version of the Aquarius Plus, and it doesn't have built-in character graphics anymore. You can do a lot more with it, but it still plays all the Aquarius games. But the nice thing about the Aquarius game and the Aquarius community is if you make an Aquarius game, you're guaranteed to sell 50. You're going to sell. I mean, it's nice. And after that, you're like hoping for the rest, but you're guaranteed to sell those. Because
that's one of the things that's nice about programming for a small community is they're so ignored by everybody else that you become a hero and you just everybody who plays gets it.
Yeah, my game Turmoil 2022 and Pipes or OSH exclamation point T Pipes. That was the first cartridge game for the Aquarius that came out since the Aquarius went off the market in '83. So in 40 years, that was the first cartridge game to come out.
Wow.
So and now we have 2 cartridge games. We have Dungeon Plunder. That's a nice game too. We got that on the ColecoVision also.
Yep.
Yes, I've got it for the Coleco. Right,
yeah, it's a nice game on the Coleco. It's got better graphics, but it plays really well on the Aquarius. And if you get the ROM, if you download the Aquarius ROM and use it in an emulator, you can also change the characters in it too because that comes with a character ROM, so it makes it even nicer.
Wow!
So it is a fun game to play.
So
what's
like? Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say, so like you kind of talked about like all the different games you've made so far. I guess my question is, what got you started with the ColecoVision? Because obviously the ColecoVision's where most of your stuff is, and that you're making most of your games for.
Right.
Just what made you decide, here in 2021, hey, I want to start doing homebrew for the ColecoVision.
Well, we go back to 1990 or 1989. When I was living up in Alaska. I bought a Coleco Atom at a yard sale, and I had it, and it didn't have a disk drive. And then I finally did get a disk drive with it, but my only disk got ruined, and then the tape drive died. So I was stuck.
Which
with
I
this.
think the tape drive was a common issue with it, wasn't it?
And there was nobody else up there. So I eventually sold the Coleco Atom at a yard sale of my own. I kept the disk drive, which I eventually opened up and plugged into my Atari 800 that had 3 other drives that I was running BBS on. So I had 4 drives there. But I always wanted to have an Atom. And then me and a friend of mine, we did this 3 years in a row. We did our summer bike ride where we rode about 600 miles through New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, riding on bicycle. And we got to, what mountain was it? I think it's Mercy in New York. But when we got there, we were camping out that night, and I was looking on eBay, and I showed him this. I said, I showed him a picture of a Coleco Atom. I said, this is the kind of computer I used to have. Someday I'm going to get one again. He goes, oh, yeah, that's cute. And then a month later, it showed up on my mail. He bought it for my birthday, and I got it. I said, okay. Now I started playing with the Atom and kept getting more and more into it, buying more stuff for the Atom, buying Atoms and recycling them or refurbishing them and reselling them. And then in 2020, my daughter was born, and we ended up giving my home office room to her as a bedroom. So I went out and rented an office. Because what I do on the side, I mean, I write these games full time. I spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week writing video games. But my real job is I write online psychological software. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And that's the job that pays the money. But that's the job where I sit around and maybe work a half hour a week. When there's a problem, I take care of it. When there's no problem, I just sit here. So when I got to the office, I set the office up and stuff. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to try to take my hobby of playing with the Atom and stuff and try to write some software and try to pay for this office so that my hobby pays for this and I'm not out anything. And here we are 4 years later, and this is what I do.
Pay for an office that fits one Coleco Atom. They're huge.
Yeah, the office I got now is a little over 1,000 square foot now. Here, it's a nice office.
Oh, nice.
It's just me, though, which is lonely. I get lonely here by myself.
So, what are the games that you have on that you have written?
The ones I have written. Well, I've written a lot of them. First game I wrote was Crazy Climber Redux, and then the next one after that was Turmoil 2022. Then came Arcadian. Then came Turmoil 2022 for the Aquarius. Then came Crazy Chicky Jr. After Crazy Chicky Jr. came Demon Attack and New Atlantis. Then we published 2 games. We published Desolator and Runaway Train. Then we also published Dragon Chalice and Ciplix for the Ataris. Then I wrote Wormhole. I'm probably missing something in here. I wrote Wormhole, then New Cluck City, which is part 2 of Crazy Chicky Jr. And then going into this year, back in 2022, I came up with the idea of Virix during the pandemic. And I started working on it, and I put it to the side because it's a cute idea, but I got more fun things to do. And a friend of mine on Facebook kept pestering me, where's Virix? Where's Virix? Where's Virix? So finally, after I finished Wormhole in New Cluck City, I said, look, I'm going to do Virix. It's going to take me a month. I spent 6 months on that beast, which it turned out to be a really nice game. It's got over 4,200 different rooms in it, over 1,024 different citizens, 64 different agents you have to fight, and it's a never-ending game. Basically, it's Pokemon in the Matrix. That's how my idea was. This game never ends. There is no end to the game. So that was Virix, and that was my biggest game. And then right after Virix, we published Guzzler, and then Klaus just finished up Mancala, which is a fun game. I don't know if you've ever played Mancala, but it's a board game where you move stones around, and it's actually a really fun game. And now I'm finishing up Quixar, which is a blast.
No, Kickstarter is one I'm looking forward to because I've seen some of your footage on it, and again, I'm a sucker for shmups, so it's just to see where you're kind of going with that. I am curious to see what the final product does.
Oh yeah, I was finishing up the waves today and working on the manuals. I'm just trying to make out the waves. I had this one wave in there where after you fought like 3 or 4 different waves of aliens, you had to go through like this asteroid field, and you're just moving through it and not shooting. And I said to myself, this breaks the theme. The theme is heart pounding. You got to keep going and going. All of a sudden, now you're just dodging stuff. I said, no, pulled that out. But yeah, I was finishing up, and I put Mother in there. Mother is nice. Wait till you see this game. This game is awesome. I'm going to start publishing some videos of it probably Friday. But Mother is the boss you have to beat at the end of each wave, and it's a trip. The eyes staring, they follow you around.
No, so when is Kickstarter gonna be available? Because I saw
Kickstarter should start shipping next Monday.
Next Monday.
Like I said, I'm just wrapping up the manual right now, and then I got to get it printed up and start putting them together. I've got all the boxes already done. I've got most of the PCBs done. I like to do the work in piecemeal, and then when it's finally ready, I burn the EEPROM, solder it in, it can ship. Yeah, see, yeah, Mike, you got Mancala for.
Yeah, I got the ColecoVision one from back in the day.
Yeah, that's from Klaus also. Yeah, it's basically the same game. He ported it to ColecoVision. Well, he didn't rewrite most of it, but he used the AI logic.
The first time that we met, I purchased the Demon Attack and New Atlantis double cart from you, and I streamed them on the channel on a live gameplay video. And then earlier this year, I joined the ColecoVision. They have a thing that they do every year where you get like 3 games and then you join their ROM club or whatever it is. And within that was, in their ROM vault, was their version of Demon Attack. And so I live streamed that. And everybody said, that is doesn't look anywhere as good as the one that you played earlier. And I agreed with them. It wasn't nearly as good as the one that I had played, that you had written. So
yeah, I think they used the TI-99 as the basis for their game when they made that one.
Yeah, the ColecoVision one,
Super Demon.
Yeah, the ColecoVision one's a straight port of the TI-99. I mean, it's verbatim.
What I did is I used to play Demon Attack on the Atari 2600 all the time, so I wanted that one, and I wanted Atlantis because I used to play that one on there too. So what I did, instead of saying, okay, I'm just going to make another version of the Atari one, I sat down and looked at the Intellivision game and looked at the layout of how it worked. I said, I like that. So I put the moon in the background, and then I started tinkering with the physics of the game, so it wouldn't be always the same thing. I mean, it's not exactly like the 2600 at all. It's not like any of the other versions, but it has that same play to it. It's like it keeps going and going and going, and you don't get. Yeah, there is no boss in it, but again, in the 2600 one, there was no boss in it.
Yeah.
And then with the New Atlantis was basically the same concept. I took the Intellivision's concept of how they played it, and I went from there. I didn't want to just do a straight port or a copy of the 2600 and the others because, I mean, why buy a port? If you already have the 2600 on cartridge, why would you want to get it for your ColecoVision?
Yeah,
I feel that way about a lot of ports, to be honest.
Right. I was just going to say, and that, because we had that conversation in a couple different episodes, where we just said, it's just like, and again, I know your pricing's different, but like the average homebrew game anymore seems to be around $60, $70. And it's just like, do you really want to spend $60, $70 on a direct port that's not giving something unique to
a game that you can pick up for $5 on another system? Yeah.
Right. So, and that is one thing I did appreciate with your Demon Attack and New Atlantis, because I think it was smart. You did a combo cart, for those that did get the physical, and again, I do like that you kind of did your own touch to it to make a good game. That is one of yours that I do enjoy playing on the ColecoVision.
Thank you. Yeah, and now it's a budget pack, so it's even cheaper. Now it's on a 29. Which actually the budget pack's working out pretty good. I'm not releasing. I mean, I released a couple of games like Guzzler and Wormhole. They went straight to budget pack. They never did, and Dungeon Plunder too. They went straight to budget pack. They never didn't do a big box on them. But some games need a big box to start with. I mean, Mancala, it didn't need a big box. But Mancala, like I told Klaus, this is not going to be a fast seller. It's going to take a while to sell. But I like the game. I personally like it. I sat down and started playing with it, and at first I'm like, I don't want to play no game like this. It's like backgammon. And after a few tries, and I was confused, and he explained the rules, and I tried it again. I'm like, this is fun. Now that I know how to play, it's fun. And then Klaus laid out the cover artwork for the game, and I said to myself, that kind of looks like a pack of Camel cigarettes. So that's why I took
it really does.
It's funny you said that, because when I saw that on your website, I'm like,
Yep.
What is this?
Yeah, I took the whole thing and said, I like the layout. I'm going to do it. It's not anything that is smoking or nothing like that. So yeah, I did that. And then Kickstarter is going straight to budget or straight to big box. So this one's going to be a big box. And pricing seems to work right. The budget packs are $29. They used to be $30. I dropped it to $29. I said, what's that $1? It makes it easier to do things. And
also makes it look nicer because you see a 2 at the start.
That retail,
I can do 20 something.
That 9 instead of a 0, a 30, a 29 in retail makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and then some of the behind the scenes thing. The reason it's $29 is because we offer free shipping on anything over $60 or over. If you order 2 budget packs at $30, it's free shipping. If you order 2 budget packs at $29, it's doing free shipping. I mean, I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube, and I did some reading on how to price things and how to do them right, and I realized, that makes sense. So yeah. And so I looked at my thing. I said, because I saw this one thing that says one of the best things you can do is offer free shipping. If you can afford to offer free shipping, offer free shipping. Because if you're shipping, if I'm shipping this right here somewhere in the U.S., it's going to cost me between $4 and $6 to ship it. $7 if it's going to Hawaii. Canada, it's going to cost me $14. So
which is nuts. I suffer so much for this hobby.
Well, if you are
order
shipping
over $60, it's free shipping to the U.S. and Canada. I include Canada in because when people buy from Canada, they don't just order one game; they order 2 or 3.
We order in bulk because it's more economical.
And Mike would know this one
I'm willing
too,
to eat a little bit of the shipping. I look at the pricing. I say, okay, at $50, if I'm $50 is not free shipping. So let's say Virix. Virix is $75. This is going to be free shipping. So if I'm shipping it to Canada, I'm making $60 off. Okay, yeah. I'm still good with that. The cartridge, because it's a mega cart, 128K mega cart, building the PCB and the cartridge and everything else is about $20 to build that. Then the 3 manuals that are in it, add another $5. I still am making off my labor slightly. What I do is I let myself lose money on the labor to keep the price at the same spot that I want it to. And then I say all games that if we're doing big box, I'm going to do 100 copies in big box. After 100 copies, if it's selling good, I'll keep it in big box. Otherwise, it goes down to the budget pack, and then I do everything on those in-house. The big box, I have to get the printing outside. The budget packs, I do in-house. So at that point, when it goes down to budget pack, I can afford to drop the price down to $29 because it's going to cost me still $10 to $12 to put everything together. So I'm still making the money.
We've talked on this show a number of times about guys like you who distribute, sell their own homebrews that, you guys really have to sell volume to end up making really anything on them. And so it's almost a labor of love just to do it. We know you're not making a killing at it.
Well, I'm actually not doing too bad. Over the past 2.5 years, I've made almost $75,000 on homebrew games.
Oh, wow.
So the money is there, but then again, if I turn that into a job, I'm spending 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'd make more money working at Walmart.
Right. Yes, I get that.
Yeah, that's why we say nobody. That's why we say nobody gets rich making homebrew games.
Yeah,
you might be able to make some scratch on the side, but you're not getting
right.
You're not.
It pays
feeding
for itself, and I
family.
make extra, so I'm good with that. Yeah. I'm not. It's not coming out of my salary to cover the games.
Well, let's put it this way: it's better than having a YouTube channel.
I tried that too. I'm stuck at 800.
Hey man, I made almost $60 last month.
That's all.
I made $4 off of Facebook just by making a reel.
Oh wow, that's
in
pretty
fairness,
good.
I wasn't monetized for all of June.
Yeah. Yeah, guys don't understand what it takes to get monetized on the YouTube. It's crazy, but anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
But yeah, but I mean, to Milli's point though, I mean, that's the thing though. I mean, there's so much time, I mean, again, not just for him or even myself with my controllers. I mean, this is anyone doing any type of aftermarket homebrew hardware or software. I mean, it's not full-time gigs. I mean, now Milli's very fortunate given his true job situation that it affords him some more time to do it. But again, all this is just a love of the hobby, and just wanting to try to make newer things for the consoles we all loved growing up with. And but with that, one question I have is, because I think this is a good lead-in point to it, is about your gamers club. Because full disclosure, I mean, I have a subscription to it because, again, I know it's only $50 a year, and then you get access to all the stuff that you actually make or publish. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you
for how long? Is that for a year, or is that for just a one-time deal, or how's that work?
It's a year.
For 1 year. When you subscribe for 1 year, you get a 1 year subscription for $50. You get 10% off. You get a membership discount of 10% anything on the store. And now that we're actually in console mode now, instead of we used to have the Retro Gamers Club website, which was hard to update. But now what we've done is, when you're a member in the club, is you get a discount for the digital games, which basically they're free. You go online, take any of the digital games, put them in your cart, use that discount, you don't pay for them. They're free. Yeah. So if you spend $50 and you go on, say you spend $50 and join the club, and right after you get it, you go on to the digital games and you download all, I think there's 12 or 13 of them in there, selling for $9 a piece. I mean, you just made double your money back on them. But what the thing is, the whole idea is we want to spread it out. A lot of people don't want the digital games. I've realized that, but they're getting them now. They're actually buying them now, but a lot of people didn't want to buy the digital games. So that was a perk to the club. The other perk to the club, which hasn't been used very much, it's only been used by like 3 or 4 members, is we mostly concentrate on the ColecoVision stuff. If you got something that's broken in your ColecoVision, you send it to us. You pay the shipping and we'll fix it. You pay the shipping to and from, and we fix it for you. If you got a ColecoVision that has garbled graphics, send it to us. I'll put a new RAM chip in it. If one of the controllers isn't working, send the controller, send the system, and I'll fix it for it. If I have to replace it with brand new parts, I'll charge you for the parts. I may charge you $3 for the first 8 RAM chips, but you don't have to do any of the work. I have one member of the club, and he doesn't abuse it, so that's nice of him. But he buys the games he buys the ColecoVision systems on YouTube, not YouTube, on eBay, and has them shipped them directly to me. Because they're just as is on test. He sends it to me, and I test it.
As is, not working. Okay, just send it. I'm a club member.
Well, he sends it to me, and I test them out, and I tell him, okay, these are good, and I tell him, oh, this part is bad. Like I just got one before, and it came in, and the super controller, action controller, was dead, and one of the controllers is dead too. I guess the diodes, one of the 26 diodes is bad. And I told him, I said, everything else is fine. I cleaned it all up. They all work really good, tested out fine, but these two things, they're parts. You're not going to fix them. He said, okay, send them to me. I'll throw them away. I'll put them in my shelf as parts. So, yeah, but he gets it. He knows it works. He doesn't have to worry about trying to fix it. So, yeah, the club is a really good benefit for people. It's the other part of the club.
That's actually a huge perk. I mean, for me, living in Canada, shipping a ColecoVision across the border.
Yeah.
But if it was something that, you spend $100 on a new ColecoVision, or I can spend $80 in shipping and get this one fixed.
Yeah. And then the other perk of the club, and we got to put it back in there, is since we moved from the old Retro Gamers Club website to the store, is I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to put it in there. I used to put in all my beta games, the games that I started working on, because I've got about a dozen other games that I started on, and I just said, okay, I'm just not feeling it right now. This is not as fun as I thought it was going to be, or I've come up against a wall, or in the case of Anna, I decided, you know what, is somebody may own the Cabbage Patch IP, and I don't want them to come yelling at me that I'm using Cabbage Patch dolls. So what I do to these games is we had on the Retro Gamers Club is the members could download these beta games and these test games and stuff and tinker with them and play with them and just see what they work. And I had a member ask me, how did they get to them now? And I really can't figure out how. The only thing I can think of is in the digital download, I can have a beta section. I can put them in there. But to discourage people from downloading them who are not club members, give them a high price, like $100 a game. They want to pay $100 for a beta version of a game that doesn't work. That's okay. But that would allow the members to download them for free. So I'm really considering doing that because I have a lot of beta games. But the one I have, the Last Viper, I should go back to finishing that because that's almost a finished game. That was a Battlestar Galactica game, which is you wouldn't call it a first-person shooter. What do you call a video game where you're actually looking at the starfield moving around in front of you? You don't see the ship. You just see it in front of you.
First person?
That would be first person.
Okay,
Yeah,
then it's first person
from the
shooter.
pilot's
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, it's a fun little game. I mean, I didn't finish it, but you sit in the launch tube and then you got to launch, and you launch down the tube just like on the show Battlestar Galactica. Then you're out fighting the Cylons, and after you beat them, you got to come back and land in the landing bay. I had a whole storyline behind it. There was a in Battlestar Galactica in the canon. I think that's right. There was another Battlestar, either the Columbus or the Columbia, that got beat up and chased away like the Pegasus. It got blown up a lot, but they never found it again. I don't know if anybody's ever watched Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah,
the 2009 version.
No, the original from '78.
Oh, actually, I remember it, but I didn't. I watched all the 2009 version, but yeah, go ahead.
The 2009 version of the game has no sound effects.
But the concept of Last Viper was that you were stuck on. If you know anything about how the Battlestars looked, there was a long ship, and they had these two little arms that came out that had the landing bays on them. And what Last Viper was that the ship that the Columbia or the Columbus got attacked and basically destroyed, but the landing bay was still functioning. So there's just the landing bay floating out in space by itself, and you're taking off trying to destroy the Cylons as they're continuously beating you up. It was a fun game to write. It took a lot of thoughts to give this 3D perspective and the stars moving and everything. And I spent like 2 months on the physics, and by the time I got the physics right, it wasn't exciting anymore. So I said, okay, put that on the back shelf. That happens a lot when I write games. If I lose the excitement, I start to think to myself, if it's not exciting to me, then it won't be exciting to somebody else to play it. And I don't want to write a game that people look at and think, this is boring.
I hear you.
So I guess with your James, I guess the question would just be, because again, you kind of talked about like games you've made to date so far, is I guess like going back to some of your original ones there, like with your first one being Crazy Climber, I guess what was your motivation to say, hey, my first homebrew game is going to be Crazy Climber? I mean, what made you decide to, out of all the options out there, what made you decide to go with Crazy Climber? Well,
I used to play Crazy Climber when I was younger. I used to love playing it. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the game, and I liked the concept of how it worked. So what I did is I sat down and I started. This is when I was just starting to figure out how the ColecoVision graphics worked a little. I really didn't know a lot of them, so it took me a bit to figure them out. But I wanted to see, can I make this scrolling building work on the ColecoVision? Make it scroll smoothly. And I was able to do that. And then it went from there. Then I started building it, and I said, what is there a market for this? And then I started the Kickstarter and started showing people this is what I'm working on. So yeah, it was fun making the game. In hindsight, if I was to do it now, I like the game the way it is, but I think I would have given it a mode that would have been exactly like the arcade, and also had the version I had, because the version I have is more of a platformer style game. There's 4 different cities, 4 different buildings in each city, 4 different bosses, where you didn't have that in the original Crazy Climber. And I don't know if anybody's ever played my version of Crazy Climber, but if you get to the last level,
I've never gotten to the last level.
Get to the last level, it is an homage to Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong was basically Crazy Climber. Yeah, the last level. You are climbing up a building of girders and ladders, and you have flaming things and hammers flying at you, and you have a giant monkey on the top to beat. The only thing I didn't do is change Cecil into Mario. But it basically was
Which is smart.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah.
Knowing how Nintendo can get.
In my betas and games I haven't finished, I got 2 or 3 Mario games in there too. I've gotten so close to. I told my wife so many times, I'm gonna make the Super Mario World. I'm going to make that one. I'm going to make that one. And then I start working on it, and then I'm like, I want to get sued. I'm not doing this one. But it's fun to try.
I mean, it's always the one thing to make like a homage to it. But I mean, I mean, if you're going to go through the effort like that, just make it your own type of game.
If you plan on making any money on it, there's at least 2 companies that you don't want to mess with, and that's Disney and Nintendo.
Right. Yep. So yeah, that's why even
Not
though
that
I
it
have
stops a
Mario's-
lot of other homebrew programmers, but
yeah,
So
and then I've heard from many people that they really don't want remakes of old games. So even though I like the old games, it's like, I mean, I sit at home and I a couple weeks ago I bought one of those sticks that plug into my TV. It's supposed to come with like 500 games or whatever. Yeah, most of them are no good, but Mario's on it. So I'm like, why am I going to write it? I already have it, right?
well,
that's
and the other,
okay.
sorry, the other thing is, like, people definitely like reimagined versions of the classics, but in the reimagining, you can make it your own. Like, you want to make a Pac-Man style game, you can change the sprites, you can do what Alien did, you can do what Ladybug did, Lock and Chase, like all these games that are clearly inspired by Pac-Man, or in some cases, basically full-on ports of Pac-Man, just with different sprites. But you can do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
Yeah,
kind of like
that's what we did
Chicky
with
Jr.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy Chicky Jr. was like that. But Crazy Chicky Jr.'s story is kind of interesting because Crazy Chicky Jr. was actually on the ColecoVision, which was almost like a ColecoVision, but it ran on a 6502 chip instead of a Z80. And the game they made was Crazy Chicky Jr. Crazy Chicky, not Crazy Chicky Jr. They made Crazy Chicky, and when they released it, Namco went after him because it basically was Pac-Man. So they changed it. And they changed some things of it, and they changed some things of it. They put a chicken in it, and they put foxes in it, and they were still upset with it. So they changed the whole gameplay. Instead of you eating the pellets, now you were laying eggs. And I guess Namco was okay with it.
It was opposite, yeah. Instead of eating
when I saw
them,
that, I said, that's kind of interesting. So I took that concept and we made Crazy Chicky Jr., which is basically like a sequel to it, which actually plays a lot different in the long run.
Now, I forgot to ask earlier when we were talking about the Gamers Club. So, like these new games coming, the Mancala and the Kixar. Now, will those be available right away for digital download, or is there a delay, like from the physical release?
Mancala and Kixar should be by the end of July on digital download.
Cool.
I mean, I originally my thought was I'm going to put them on immediately, and then I had this worry because now that we have the ability of just buying the digital downloads too, I started worrying that, well, if the members just download the games, they may not buy the games. But then I started looking at my numbers and stuff, and it's like, a lot of people want that cartridge.
Oh,
my experience is that the people that want to buy the cart are going to buy the cart, whether they have the ROM or not.
Right.
And the people who just want the digital, we're never going to buy the cart anyway.
Yeah. So I said, okay, it's going to go into Virix is going to go into digital ROMs this month also, but Virix is not going to be a $9 digital ROM. I mean, this is an expensive game to make. I put a lot of hours in it, so it's going to be a little higher, but I think it's worth being a little higher because of the effort. I mean, it's not like, I mean, a lot of the space shoot up games and stuff, Mancala, you can play for like a half hour and you can always come back playing it. But the shooting up games, it's basically you go and see what your high score can be, but they will be the same all the time. And you pick it up, you play it for 10 minutes, you put it down. Virix isn't like that. Virix is you're going to play this, and if you really are serious about it, you're going to play it for hours. It has a clock in it, and it will keep track up to 255 days of playing. And that's saved in your passcode. When you're playing it and you get the passcode and you write your passcode down and you come back, put your passcode in, it picks you right back up where you left off as to where you were at. It keeps track of how long you're playing the game, and there's no dying in the game. You don't die. There's no lives. I mean, there is a score in there, but the score is kind of like an extra. You really don't have a score because your whole concept is to explore and to cure people.
My kind of game, you can't lose.
So that's what I need to be streaming.
Yeah, it doesn't end. I mean, it keeps going on and
those
on.
games for the stream.
Yeah,
I don't have to take my medicine before the stream, so I won't have a heart attack.
You may want to, when you start playing it, you may want to map it out too. Start writing out a little map if you don't want. I mean, it's kind of hard to get lost in there. You can get lost. There are 24 sectors. Like I said, there's 24 sectors, 4,129 different rooms in all the sectors. There's a lot of places in there. 1,024 citizens. Every citizen is unique. They have a unique name, unique age, unique gender. They have unique looks to them. When you go in and you talk with them, you get to see their silhouette of what they look like. They speak in gibberish until you find the translator to translate what they're saying. And if you got the speech synthesizer from Lundy Electronics, and if you have Virix and you don't have it yet, I'd suggest getting it because they may not be available at the end of the year. I'm hoping that he changes his mind, but he's kind of like he may be not making more of them. So the speech synthesizer is really helpful in the game because the game does talk to you. You don't need to have it, but it makes it more fun.
Oh, so you're saying you might not be able to get the speech synthesizer anymore?
Yeah. Well, what's happening is
not Virex itself, but just the synthesizer.
Right.
Okay.
What's happening is Opcode is coming out with Super Game Module 2 at the end of the year, and it's going to have speech synthesis in it. But they're not going to use the same speech synthesis. They're going to use their own. I mean, just so that games written for this don't work on that.
Gotcha.
Come on, just make everything work.
Right.
That's what that was my thought when I was talking with him about his speech synthesizer and stuff and about them coming out with stuff. I was saying, this market isn't that big. There's maybe 7 or 8 homebrewers in the ColecoVision world that are making it more than just making one game and say, look what I can do. They're making it. And I was thinking to myself, we have to get together. We should talk. We should discuss things. We should discuss strategy. I mean, I didn't know the Super Game Module was going to have a speech synthesizer. So I contacted him and said, can you give me details on this so I can incorporate it in my game? And they got back to me and said, and then they get closer to it, they will. I mean, but these are things that people should know ahead of time. Especially if you're writing games, you should know ahead of time. I mean, like when Lundy was coming out with a speech synthesizer and I saw it, that it would work on the ColecoVision, I said, can you send me the specs on it? Because I'd like to make it work. And he sent me a demo. He sent me a demo of the synthesizer and the specs. And within a couple of days, I had a YouTube video up there of the ColecoVision doing the whole London Bridge is falling down video. I mean, it's kind of hard to understand, but it's kind of cool to listen to ColecoVision talk. And it should be like that in the homebrew community. We should all be talking together so we don't separate. I mean, like, for instance, Demon Attack. Like Phil was saying, he got the one from the ColecoVision Club. When in November of 2022, I had just finished up Demon Attack. And I had posted a couple of posts about it was coming out in December, and I posted a video, and someone said, "Oh, ColecoVision is going to have that as one of their extra games or secret games or whatever games for club members next year."
It's not the same.
So I contacted him. I said, "I didn't know you were doing that. If I had known, I wouldn't publish that. But you know what? I mean, you guys are almost done. I'll hold this game back just for club members. I'll just go to the Retro Gamers Club." They said, "You do whatever you want to do." So I did. And I waited, and then come March, their game hadn't been released. And I said, you know what? People are asking for this on cartridge. I'm going to release it on cartridge. But, I mean, it's one of those things. It's a duplication of effort. There shouldn't be like Phil comparing the two. It should be, there's one Demon Attack. It's like me saying, oh, I'm going to make a copy of a game and then get it all done and find out, oh, no, they're publishing a port of the same exact game. There should be some.
It's another reason to make original games.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
That's my thought too. This
unless Champ Games is watching. Champ Games, you stick to what you're doing. Don't change at all.
So
but they're doing what's never been or what someone never thought could be done. They're pushing the envelope hard.
Yeah, so a couple of things. The one thing I just want to mention because I do appreciate it, which is why again I got on the soapbox with the Gamers Club because something we've had in past conversations on this podcast has been the struggles of homebrew getting out there to be available for everyone because some folks, like you said, they want the physical and they'll eat it up and that's great. And I'm a physical guy myself. However, when it does come to all these different homebrews, I do prefer having the digital initially because I want to be able to play it on my flash cart, be able to see like, hey, is this something I really like? Before I necessarily spend set amount of dollars on it. And So I appreciate that you kind of hit all those angles, like in the sense of, again, what I like about the Gamers Club is it's a great, I mean, I don't feel that it's a high cost to be a member of it for the number of games that do seem to come out per year. And it's a great way for folks to just experience the game itself to then make the decision like, hey, do I like this one before I go plop, whatever your dollar amount is. So like Virex.
Is this one worth becoming part of my physical collection
as well? Is it worth becoming part of my physical collection? Because again, not every game's going to be for everyone. And the Gamers Club is an opportunity to see those before doing that. And and then of course those that might not want the subscription can still go buy digital versions, at a much cheaper cost than having the physical.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I give, you credit for, is that where it seems to be a struggle with other publishers right now on trying to kind of get that balance. Cause I think Mike had a video on it the other day, with the homebrew stuff that you've kind of taken the step, like you're not afraid per se that someone's going to, maybe do something with these digital copies or things like that. You're just kind of like putting it out there to buy, and where others seem to be a lot more hesitant to that. And I think
I was worried about that when I first started that. When I first was going to release the games digital, like with Crazy Climber, I did it for the Kickstarter people, and then I did it for a couple other games. But I was worried about that too, that they were going to get out there on the internet. And I think one of the things that helped me stop that is, first off, there's not a lot of ColecoVision ROM sites out there, but the main one that is out there is the one I run, Atom Archive. So,
oh, that ROM's on there now. Delete.
But I thought to myself, the way originally was, the only people that got the digital ones were the club members. So I kind of like, okay, if it gets released, I can't tell who put it on the internet, but I got an idea. But the first year I worried about that, and now I really don't worry.
And it's interesting you say that, because I know John Champo's kind of said the same thing when he was on here. Like that was a concern, but that's not really been an actual thing. And I think the difference is when someone has to pay for it, they're not as open to putting it out there. So
now I know in the Intellivision community there was a situation with Intellivision Collector sold ROMs, and now he doesn't do it for any other publishers because somebody bought all the ROMs and just published them for free. But at the end of the day, stuff like that's going to happen. There are jerks out there, but somebody who is going to get the ROM for free, again, is probably not somebody that would have paid for the ROM at any point in time anyway.
Right. I almost use the same concept. Back when the Amiga had a bad problem with people stealing their stuff, pirating their stuff. So what a lot of the Amiga game publishers did is they copyrighted, and they put copy protection on them. They knew it would get hacked and get broken and cracked and released to the public domain on BBS and stuff. But their thought was, if we sell enough before it's cracked, we don't care if it's cracked. And that's what I kind of do now. When I release a game, if I hit my certain mark of sales, I'm okay. I don't want anybody throwing the game around, giving it around and stuff, but I'm okay at that point because I have covered my costs, my initial upfront costs of everything. I covered it, and now it's not gravy as much as I don't have any. I'm not sitting on 500 games or 100 games, whatever, on the shelf waiting to get sold.
Yeah.
I've covered my costs, and now I assemble games as necessary. And if I sell 2 games in 1 month or I sell 50, it's not going to cost me any more to do that. Mm-hmm. So as long as I do my initial sales, I'm okay with it.
Now let me ask you a question. Getting back to the downloads, though, we know that in the store you have games in the store that are not all your games. Now, obviously, the Electro Night games are off the table.
Yeah,
they're not going to be downloaded. We know that. However, Jason Santucci is a friend of mine, and I know you guys are friends. Is it beyond the pale that at some point he might want to start selling some of his ROMs on your site?
No, I've already had a couple people send it to me. I've got Jason and I've got Charles also send me some too, and I'm just going through them. Charles sent me some games which I actually like, but they are hacks of original games. So it's like, okay, I don't want to get there. I don't want to be selling games that are basically reskinning another game. So I'm reluctant to do that. But we do put the ones that we publish, we also put their ROMs in the store. And our percentages, the way our percentages work is when we publish games, if we make the complete game and sell the complete game, the original author gets 25% of the sale price. We pay all the costs, they get 25% sale price. They don't have to do anything, but just each month I send them a check. Well, I send them a PayPal. Mm-hmm. And what we do with the ROMs is they get 50% of the sale price. So they're getting they're basically the other 50% is just me putting it up there.
You facilitate.
Yeah. So that's what we do with when we publish games is we have a nice lucrative little thing there. They don't have to do anything but just write the game, send it to me, and if it's a good game, if they're taking a chance in writing the game, they're not out anything. If I put all the money into making the game and it doesn't sell, I'm the one that's lost the money.
Yeah.
And what we started to do now is we started with Mankala, and I'm going to start doing with all the other ones. Is I don't know if you've noticed is on the cover I got the author's name on it. And I'm going to do that with every other game from now on. It's going to be whoever wrote the game. If it's not from 8-Bit Milli Games, it's going to have the author's name on the cover, just like a book. Give them the credit for what they did. Yeah, I think I actually have a link on the website somewhere. I'll have to look more. I could have sworn I had a link on the website that told you how to sell your game, but maybe I have to figure out what happened to that. Mm-hmm. But it described the process and how to get a hold of me.
Cool. Okay.
So, because I know we're starting to get toward the end here, it's just so what else, what's in store for the future? Because obviously we know you got 2 games here coming out here likely next week. But what's after these 2 games? What's coming? What's coming next? Okay, anything?
I'm not sure exactly what game I want to work on next. Part of me wants to make something hardware. It involves a Raspberry Pi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if it works the way I expect it to work, people are going to hate me.
Oh dear.
Oh.
I have a Raspberry Pi, so I probably won't hate you.
We're going to have to talk backstage.
Yeah,
I won't share, but I like to get the dirt.
If it works the way I expect it to, people are going to hate me, but it will be a game changer. Game-wise, I'm not sure which game I want to do next. I have done the Virix was the long game. Quickstar was the nice fun game to write, and I'm debating what I want to do. I still want to make a platform game. I know I'm not going to make Mario Brothers, but I still want to make a game like that because I just like those kind of games. But I don't want to make a game that is Mario Brothers, and I don't want to make a game that you look at it like this ain't Mario Brothers. You know what I mean? Like for the Commodore, the Gianna sisters is like this ain't Mario Brothers. So I'm still debating what I want to do.
You make the Luigi sisters.
I was tempted just to pull out my Donkey Kong, get the original Donkey Kong, and disassemble it and put Luigi in there and just change it up so it's Luigi instead of Donkey Kong, and then put it on the site for the members to download.
Oh man, that would be good. I would stream that. So I have a question now. You were at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo last year. Are you going to be there this year?
No, I won't be there this year.
So are you going to be at the Cleveland Gaming
Expo? Cleveland.
Okay.
I'm going to be at Cleveland Game. I'm going to be at the one this month.
Torgs. No.
This month is Classic Gaming or Classic
CCAG. Yeah, Cleveland Classic.
CCAG. Yeah. I'm at that one. Then in September I'm going to be at Game Cleveland for 3 days, and then I'm going to be in Torgs in November.
Okay. So if you're in Ohio, you guys stop by and see Milli, see 8-Bit Milli there. He'll have a setup there not only to buy. He's got this really cool. I'll tell you about this or why don't you tell him about your little Coleco machine that you have set up there, emulation machine. Yeah.
That's a fun thing. When I was at Korgs, it didn't get used much. But anyways, what I did is I got a Linux computer and I got a copy of ColecoVision that the author made a modification on it so that if you press any numeric key from 0 through 9, it will load ROM 0 through 9. Then I made a custom little box out of I don't know if you heard of the Naboo computer. That was a big rage last year. But I got the adapter box. I had one of the adapters, so I turned it into a console where it's got a joystick. It's got a keypad that actually was the original keypad from a Princess phone from back in the 70s that I rewired to be the ColecoVision keypad. And then it's got 8 buttons where you press a button and it loads the ROM and plays it immediately. So it's like a little what do you call it, demo box, unless you just play any games.
Yeah, so you have it set. Those numbers are set for a particular game of your choosing. So it was really a nice little setup there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to bring it to CCAG or not because I'm trying a different setup this time. I've done many different setups, and the one that seems to get a lot of attention is the one with the TV screens playing the games. Mm-hmm. Because then people come up and look at the screen and then they ask about it. Whereas when I have the emulator set up there, only one person's playing it. And though I like kids, I end up with the kids playing the emulators. They come up and they play the games for like 15 minutes and they leave. And this little 10-year-old's not going to buy a game for the ColecoVision. So I think for CCAG, I'm going to go back to the TV monitors and go from there with the game playing on that.
No, for what you do, I think the TV monitors make a lot more sense because you can showcase a lot more things in a shorter amount of time than just having one box there for someone to play the stuff. Now I mean, it might be one thing if you have it set like I don't want to say hidden, but just like for someone who's truly maybe wanting to buy it, like, hey, is there a way I can test it first? But I mean, at the end of the day, though, I think for you, the TVs definitely make more sense.
I think in the long run, probably if I wanted to bring something to have a setup for people to play, is I would bring a ColecoVision.
Yeah, right.
With a screen. That way I can drop a cartridge in and show them. That way they're holding the real controller and stuff.
Yeah.
Having the emulator is nice, but I learned with like the game Guzzler, the joystick doesn't play the same, and it's almost impossible to move around. It doesn't play the same as the ColecoVision joystick. You don't have the diagonals; don't work the same.
All right, well, guys, it's been a great stream. Milli, thank you for coming. We've actually been talking about doing this for a little bit, and we finally were able to make it happen. Thank you so much. For all of you who are just tuning in, consolemoo.com. Check it out. All of the games. The Retro Gamers Club, it's all there. If you have any questions, there's a contact section there. You can get a hold of him there. Yeah, I actually, these he has the games. These are $29. The packages are small, but they're still complete in box. They're still considered.
Especially if you've played the ROMs or watched the videos and you make, because like Brian said, not every game is for everybody, but I've got a lot of people telling me how expensive Homebrew is, and to be able to have a cheap option, I think that's...
And the manuals are on the website.
Good idea.
So, they're already there. So I think it's, if you're looking for that and it's $50 to join the Retro Gamers Club, and plus you get discount on the physical copies too. So, it might be worth giving a shot. So,
one thing we didn't talk about, sorry, I don't know, but let's just quickly mention it. The high score club. If you get a high score on the games, you send it into Milli, you get $5 off a future purchase. Is that right?
25. It's $25.
$25
for the one that gets the highest score for the.
Mike's like, I'm going to break some games open tonight.
I gotta play some more games. I've been doing this Bliss contest for a card.
Yeah, you get.
Hey,
we've got the only games that are not on there now is Byrix, which Byrix never have a high score, so that's not going to show up on there. Mancala is not on there because that doesn't have a high score, and Quickstar isn't on there yet. But every other game's on there, and some of the games, let's see, Wormhole and New Cluck City, they have a link at the end when you finish it. They have a link where you just go to the link and it automatically posts your information for you, and you just have to just fill in your name and stuff. The other ones, what you do is you take a photo, a screenshot, or take a picture, whatever, and email it to us. And then what we do is the highest, we put them all on the line, and then the highest score each month gets a $25 gift certificate that they can use towards the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he'll play Milli's games now. He won't play unless he knows he's going to win in the Retro Bliss Ninja contest. But he'll play for $25.
That is not true, Phil.
Okay, let's. All right, Milli, thanks again, buddy.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you being here. You guys, be sure to tune in next week. We'll be back for another great episode of Retro Bliss Rewind. And again, thank you, 8-Bit Milli, for being on the show. And again, be sure to check out ColecoVision.com. So with that, you guys have an awesome day. We'll see you next time on Retro Bliss Rewind. I'm out.